Hello friends, this video on transport in plants part 6 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. We will now discuss the next type of transport mechanism in plant, which is also a type of diffusion, that is osmosis. So let us see what is osmosis. Osmosis is diffusion of water across a semi-permeable membrane. So these are the two important points to note here. Now it is basically a type of diffusion. So osmosis is a type of diffusion, but like diffusion used to happen for liquids, gases, as well as even for solids. But osmosis is primarily for liquids, and especially we use this term when we talk about water. And also here we need a semi-permeable membrane for osmosis to take place. Semi-permeable means a membrane which allows substances selectively to pass through it. That is why it is neither permeable nor not permeable. It is semi-permeable, so half permeable. It allows half of the things and it doesn't allow half of the things. So, you already know what is diffusion. So here water will move from a region of high concentration towards a region of low concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. So here you can see this jar with water which is separated by a semi-permeable membrane. So here the concentration of water is high. Here the concentration of water is low. Water is still here. Therefore, the water will move from high to low concentration. This phenomenon is known as osmosis. Now, before we discuss the factors which determine the rate of osmosis, let us talk about a very important concept, that is water potential. Now, when I talk about water, I have to talk about it with respect to a plant. So we will first try to understand how is water important to plant, then we will see what is water potential. So once we are clear with the concept of water potential, then we will continue with the rest of our discussion on osmosis. So here, as I said, movement occurs from a region of higher water potential towards a region of lower water potential. So here we are talking about water potential and not concentration. So we will see that what is water potential. Before that, let us quickly think of the importance of water in a plant. If you have a small garden, why does it become very necessary to water the plants daily? And if you stop watering them for a couple of days, you see that some of the plants eventually die or they start drying up. So that shows how important water is in a plant. In fact, when you talk about water, if you look at a plant, it is made up of the plant cells. Even inside a cell, what is there? The different cell organelles are there. They are present in the cytoplasm. What is cytoplasm? Most part of the cytoplasm is made up of water. It is a fluid-like structure. So basically water with all minerals and nutrients dissolved in it. So inside every cell, water is one of the major constituents. When you talk about a plant's weight, if you weigh a plant, it is seen that almost 80% of a plant's weight is water. So only 20% is some solid, otherwise everything is all water. Generally, it is seen that woody parts of the plants, maybe the bark and all, they have little less water comparatively, but the softer parts of the plant, like the leaves, the soft stems, they are all made up of mostly water. So water is a very important constituent, or most of the plant body is made up of water. Water also helps in the growth of the plant. It helps in the productivity. For example, you would have seen that the farmers, they irrigate their lands. They provide appropriate water to the plant so that the productivity of the plant is more. So that means water is very, very important in a plant. So now let us talk about water potential. What is this? Potential means capability, capacity. Literally, the term means something like that. When you talk about potential in terms of your physics, it is nothing but potential energy per unit area. So here, water potential is potential energy of water per unit area. So that is what we're going to talk about. So basically, we are talking about a measure of the energy which is contained in water. Like if I say, you often would have used the term potential in this respect. This guy has a lot of potential to do something good in life. we come across such sentences. What does this mean? That means this guy has potential, has capacity to do something good in life. He has some energy in himself to do something good in life. Similarly, when I talk about water potential, I'm talking about the energy which is contained in water, energy which is present in water, and water can utilize that energy in many different ways. So water potential is a measure of tendency of water to move from one region to another. So whenever water wants to move from one region to another, it moves depending upon its potential. So if it thinks that okay, it has this much capacity, so it can move to this region. So that ways, so it is that energy which is present in the water which decides water to move from one place to another. We all know that water has kinetic energy. Now wherever the concentration of water is more, kinetic energy is also more. For example, let us first talk about this. Let us suppose you have a glass of water. If the glass is full of water, so you have lot of water. The concentration of water is high. So if the concentration of water is high, you have more water molecules. Each water molecule has some kinetic energy. So now since the concentration is more, the number of molecules is more, the amount of kinetic energy is also more. Therefore, the water potential is also more. Whereas if you have another glass with water only present, only half filled, so the amount of water is less, concentration of water is less, amount of water molecules is less, so the water potential is also less. So wherever you have more concentration of water, the water potential is also more. So please remember this, it is a very important concept. So if the concentration of water is more, that would mean that the kinetic energy is more. That would mean that the water potential would be more. Now, water potential is generally denoted by psi W. This subscript W is to denote it is for water. It is expressed in units of pressure. So, for example, if we say that, okay, this particular solvent has this much of water potential, it is generally measured in units of pressure like pascals or bar. Some of the higher units like kilopascals are also used. So that means, let us suppose if we consider this beaker with water. So this region, this is region 1 and this is region 2. So from the picture it is very evident that region 1 has more water. So the concentration of water is more. So more water molecules are present and all these molecules have kinetic energy. So the total kinetic energy in region 1 is more. Therefore the potential of water in region 1 is more. Region 1's water have more capacity to flow because it has more energy, more number of molecules. So the water potential is more here. Therefore, by the process of osmosis, water will move from region of higher water potential towards region of lower water potential. So this would be the direction of movement of water. So now, not only in terms of potential, in terms of energy also, the water is moving from region of higher energy towards region of lower energy. This has higher kinetic energy. Why? Because lower energy means more stability. So lesser the energy, greater the stability. So it is trying to move towards the more stability side. So that way the flow will happen, and that is the concept of osmosis. Now it is consider that the pure water has a very high potential. The potential of pure water is considered to be 0. Just to keep it as the reference, so that when you add something into it and try to make it impure, the potential will also change accordingly. Now we will talk about the factors on which this water potential depends. Now, there are two important components of water potential which decides the value of water potential, which can increase or decrease the value of water potential. So, what are those two components? These are the two components. So, psi W, that is water potential, is equal to psi S plus psi P. So, this psi S is nothing but solute potential and psi P is nothing but pressure potential. So as I said, psi denotes potential and the subscript denotes it is the potential of what. Like W is for water, S is for solute and P is for pressure. So psi S, that is solute potential, and pressure potential are the two components of water potential which determine water potential. So solute potential and pressure potential. So now we will talk about each of these. We will see what is solute potential and how it affects the value of water potential. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more videos, attempt free online test, get free study material, find tutors and mentors. Thank you once again.